On today's video, there's a surprise trade being floated around in Kansas City, and it's not Trey Smith in a tag and trade. It's actually the defender that you guys really like. We'll talk about that. Plus, there's a surprise first-round pick being floated around for the Chiefs, and it could be a game changer for the offense, and it's not a wide receiver. Lastly, we have a nice stat that you guys got to hear about last year's Chiefs team that may indicate whether or not the Chiefs will take a left tackle early. Welcome back to All Chiefed Up. We're back with another podcast
for that ass.
We have some fun, exciting stuff to talk about, but before we get into it, just want to say thanks for watching All Chiefed Up. Do us a favor, if you enjoy the content, hit the like button and subscribe. And if that's something that you don't want to do, then don't do it. Oh, and share this with a friend too, that'd be cool.
You're listening to All Chiefed Up.
So this trade scenario is pretty wild, and we're going to get to that. But first, what's better than drafting a 160-pound wide receiver in the first round? Let's take another running back. So PFF's Dalton Wasserman made a list of surprise options for each team in the upcoming NFL draft and had a running back Treyveon Henderson for the Chiefs. Mike, that's pretty wild after how Chiefs Kingdom feels about running backs in the first round. Clyde Edwards-Helaire left a bad taste in their mouths.
Yes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was pretty much a bust. Everybody has PTSD from it. And that's not a joke on Clyde's PTSD. I hope he's got better from that. But he goes on to say, number 31 Kansas City Chiefs will take Treyveon Henderson. Chiefs running backs ranked 30th in yards per carry and 31st in explosive runs last season, including the playoffs. While Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt provide toughness and physicality, Ohio State's Treyveon Henderson could inject a much-needed explosiveness and pass-catching ability into the backfield. Steve, we had our own mock drafts. You actually drafted him in the second round. You can take a look at that right up here. I'll link it, but do it after the video. Watch this one first. Okay, you said you liked the fact that he was a speedster, he was a home run hitter, he could catch the ball out of the backfield, Steve. I'm guessing you like this, but do you like it in the first round?
First round might be a little rich for a running back not named Ashton Jeanty or Omarion Hampton, but I do like Treyveon Henderson's fit with the Chiefs offense. He reminds me of some of those old Eagles running backs that Andy Reid had that he actually liked to use. We're so used to Andy Reid not wanting to run the ball in Kansas City. Maybe this is something that could change that up a little bit, but he's not like what they've typically had in the last 10 years in Kansas City. This kid's a little bit smaller, but he's a one cut and go kind of guy that can absolutely blow a defense up. This guy can hit a home run at any given time. The Chiefs haven't had an electric playmaker in the backfield for them in years now. Kareem Hunt's rookie season was actually pretty explosive, but I don't think we saw things in that we could see from Treyveon Henderson if he hits a ceiling.
Right, Treyveon Henderson's 5'10", 208. He's got the size that he needs to have to be an NFL running back. He also has back-to-back seasons of pretty much 1,000 yards at Ohio State. He's put up 21 touchdowns in the past 2 years, and he's caught over 53 balls out of the backfield. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the greatest blocker back there, but he puts in a lot of effort to protect Mahomes. You said it on your mock draft today, Steve. He kind of reminds you a little bit of Jerick McKinnon, but way more athletic, and I think that's what was missing from the Chiefs' offense last year. We didn't have that Jerick McKinnon role. We didn't have that third down back threat. I know Samaje Perine kind of came on and done that late in the season, and you've seen how it kind of influenced the offense in a positive light. So I would like to get a guy like this. I just think 31's a little bit too rich, Steve.
I actually really liked his willingness to pick up blitzes and pass protect for the quarterback. I think we've been missing that with the running backs as well. Isaiah Pacheco's never been that great at that, and I think Treyveon Henderson could be a step up from what we've seen in the last year or so since Jerick McKinnon. Treyveon Henderson, he's a well-rounded football player, man. He can run the ball, he can catch the ball in the backfield, he can take care of the quarterback. And I think it would be great for the Chiefs to actually have a nasty MF back there in the backfield, Mike.
Don't be nasty.
They can absolutely tear up a defense at the drop of a hat and score quick.
He's got the agility. He's got the long speed, Steve, and you said it. It gives us a threat on third down, and I think that's what he's primarily going to do in his first season in Kansas City. And look, he's got pretty good field vision too. That's something Isaiah Pacheco has lacked throughout his career. I don't know if that's something he's actually going to gain further along, or if it is, you get what you get with him. So I like the Treyveon Henderson pick. Again, I'm going to say first round feels a little too rich, and I'm getting a little bit of first round running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire vibes. He's not Clyde Edwards-Helaire though, so I think we'd be fine. Let's talk about Aditi Kinkenwalla's tweet she threw out today. She said, prepping for next week's Green Bay NFL draft trip and just came across this insane note from the NFL on CBS Research Squad, in 2024, 5 teams needed to start 4 different left tackles. 4 of those teams went a combined 17-51. The 5th team was the Chiefs, who went 15-2. Steve, that is impressive. That speaks a lot on our coaching and on Patrick Mahomes and all the pillars of this entire Chiefs dynasty. Do you think this is going to influence what the Chiefs do at left tackle, especially drafting a left tackle early in the draft?
I don't think that the Chiefs can let something like that influence how they handle that left tackle position. I think that they had to do what they had to do in free agency. They got probably the best option with the highest upside, but there's still no solid left tackle to block Patrick Mahomes' blindside. What this is telling me is that this Chiefs team, with a solid offensive line, could beat the living hell out of everyone in the NFL. This team's so good, Mike. They went 15-2 with all those left tackle struggles. Everybody else was ass cheeks. But the Chiefs, they continue to trample the rest of the NFL. If the front office thinks that's a reason to not address that, they're dead wrong. This is where you double down. You do what you have to do to put guys in there that could potentially be that guy for Patrick Mahomes long term. That way, throughout the rest of his career, we can keep this dynasty going, and Patrick Mahomes can live up to what I think he could be.
Yeah, so on our first mock drafts of the season, Steve, you can check those out up here again after you watch this video. We actually addressed that left tackle position. You took Josh Connerly in round 1. I had Ariante Ursery in round 2. So we both thought it was something we should target early. And we even took another tackle at another point in the draft. I took Charles Grant from William & Mary. You took Anthony Belton from NC State. So I think that is something the Chiefs need to do. They need to keep addressing the offensive line any way they can. I'm with you. I think Jalen Moore was a good pickup during the offseason. Is he going to be that starter going forward? He's got a couple years to figure it out, and I think it was the best option we had. We've talked about this ad nauseum. What I will say, though, is that the Chiefs cannot shy away from taking more left tackles or more offensive linemen, even if they're not being developed, even if they feel like they're bust year in and year out. Doesn't matter. You got to keep swinging.
100%, man. I think this draft is going to be all about the trenches. You're going to see some offensive tackles. You're going to see some defensive tackles. You might even see some edge rushers and some guards. I just think this is going to be a trench-oriented draft, and I think that would be a good thing for the Chiefs. They've kind of got their skilled positions lined out, maybe other than running back. That's arguable, which goes back to the conversation we had about drafting a guy like Treyveon Henderson from Ohio State. But I think they can really look to fortify the trenches and not be able to be bullied around by a team like the Eagles last year that just goes out and puts together a freaking Pro Bowl team for 1 year to try to win the Super Bowl. So I think that's what they have to protect themselves from, is when you're looking at a lineup where Jalen Hurts is potentially one of the worst people on the starting lineup. But let's go ahead and get to that freaking trade rumor, Mike. I'm dying to talk about this one. Joe Summers from KC Kingdom says Chiefs trade George Karlaftis in surprise projected deal just before the NFL draft. He's suggesting that the Chiefs get a 2025 second round pick, number 33, and a 2026 second round pick from the Cleveland Browns for defensive end George Karlaftis and a 2025 third round pick number 95. He goes on to say there's been significant discussion around star defensive end George Karlaftis and cornerback Trent McDuffie's respective futures. The Chiefs have until May 1st to decide on their fifth-year options, creating an interesting situation regarding potential contract extensions. From the Browns' perspective, they'd land a perfect partner for Myles Garrett while still being able to draft Travis Hunter at number 2. For the Chiefs, they would avoid paying $100 million or more to Karlaftis and recoup excellent draft value in the process. Mike, what do you think about the idea of letting George Karlaftis go because you don't think you can pay him?
Before May 1st, you're going to see Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis get that fifth-year option picked up. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't even think you consider a trade like this. Are you getting decent value? Possibly, but what are you getting in the second round beyond another guy that possibly comes in and does what George Karlaftis can do after 3 or 4 years? I think you've developed Karlaftis here in Kansas City. He actually is one of the leaders in all-time sacks in the playoffs already. He's probably going to pass that up coming up here soon over the next few years. So I just don't like it here. And I also think that $100 million he threw out is a fictional number. George Karlaftis is not going to set the defensive end market. He's not going to be anywhere near $100 million in my opinion. I don't know what the final numbers are going to be. I'm not even going to pretend to act like it, but To me, it feels like $100 million is a little too rich, Steve.
George Karlaftis, man, I don't think he gets enough credit. I don't think he's a $100 million guy, but I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's able to do. He's all about that motor, man. He's always working hard. He's always trying to perfect his craft. He gets better year in and year out, and he's a great teammate. I don't think this is somebody that the Chiefs want to let go. So I actually think they pick up the 5th-year option and try to see if they can work out something with him long-term just to kind of keep a pillar on that defensive line.
I don't think George Karlaftis is going to be the kind of guy that comes into contract negotiations and acts like a complete fool and a belligerent guy that just wants to take all the money in the world to the bank.
Charles O'Menahue.
But I do think he's going to want what he thinks he's worth. George Karlaftis is a great pass rusher. He's not a top-tier, game-changing, set-the-market kind of guy. I like him, but the Chiefs still need a dominant edge rusher. They really do. I don't think he's that number one guy. I do think he's probably top 15, top 20 in the league, somewhere around that mark. You can make an argument for that, but I just don't see him as being top 5, top 10 elite. He does bring a lot to the table. I love George Karlaftis. I hope he's a Chief for a long time, to be honest, but I just can't see him setting the market somewhere around $100 million, and I don't think he's actually going to come in and try to do that.
I want to keep George Karlaftis for a long time too, Michael. And this is where we pass it off to you, Chiefs Kingdom. We're going to wrap this bad boy up, but we want you to get down in the comments and let us know what you think about all this slap nuttery going on right now. Should we trade George Karlaftis for some draft picks? Also, should we draft another running back in the first round? Let us know your thoughts.
And that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching All Chiefed Up. Hit that like button, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button. Share this with a friend. We'll catch you next time. Go Chiefs. Hit the notification button. Then hit the subscribe button. Or the bell. Hit the bell too. Hit the damn bell. Hit the notification button is just a fancy way of saying bell. Ring-a-ding-ding, ring-a-ding-ding.